Want a conversation? You got it. You want a better situation for blacks? Give them a chance to revive their neighborhoods and culture. Work with the good people to stop the bad people. Pumping money into the chaos does little. You can't legislate good parenting or responsible entertainment, but you can fight against the madness with discipline, a firm message, and little tolerance for excuse making. It is now time for the African American leadership, including President Obama, to stop the nonsense, walk away from the world of victimization and grievance, and lead the way out of this mess.
Well, that is one way to start a conversation. Michael?
Yeah, you know what's interesting to me? Why is it that when we say we want to have a conversation on race, you want to have a conversation on blackness? You don't want to have a conversation on race. You don't want to have a conversation on white privilege, unconscious bias. You don't want to talk about the collective world we've made as black, brown, red, yellow, and white people. You want to lecture black people. And by the way, Mr. O'Reilly, did you not hear? Even though a lot of us disagree, did you not hear President Obama tell Morehouse College no excuse making? Now, a lot of us want to put it in
and Morehouse is not even the beginning of that. It's actually part of what makes President Obama in a particular position to say what he said a week ago, is that he has been very much the kind of respectability president from the beginning.
Right, and even if those of us who have problems with that, the point is, how can white Americans like Mr. O'Reilly ignore the context when Mr. Obama has lectured endlessly and tirelessly for African American people? And but beyond that, Jesse Jackson and Alvin Toussaint in the 1970s had a book called Why Blacks Kill Blacks. So please don't pretend that African American people have not been on this case, but this is what we know. White on white crime is a devastation in America, like so-called black on black crime. It's not black or white on white crime. It's proximity murder.
Yeah,
people kill where they live. Yeah. So we have to talk about that in a broader sense. And guess what? The cameras don't show up in Chicago like they show up in Newtown and Aurora. All we're asking for is equal attention paid to crises at a time of enormous distress for our vulnerable children to be assisted. So, Mr. O'Reilly, I'd love to have that conversation about protecting yourself behind white picket fences and Fox News and having digital courage. Come in the streets where you went to Sylvia and you were surprised that black people don't throw bananas at each other or swing from trees.
Okay, neo-intellects in the building. I think Dr. Michael Eric Dyson did a great job with basically cutting Bill O'Reilly down, because Bill O'Reilly, in my opinion, you know, yes, we do need to speak about race, and yes, there's racism, and yes, there's self-accountability, but when someone like Bill O'Reilly even makes a comment, you already know it's laced with hate, bias, prejudice, and bigotry, aka racism. So you know it's laced with that. And at the same time, like Dr. Dyson said, we've been discussing black issues as far as black on black crime and the violence that plagues our communities, our race and culture. But when someone talks about it, and people, they even have mentors. I mean, you have Jesse Jackson's, group, you have Al Sharpton's group, we have different mentors and organizations that are in the inner city that are they've been creating and implementing programs to keep young African American children and young black people out of trouble, and showing them there's more to life than just crime and violence and drugs and all this other stuff. But that's like Dr. Dyson said, they don't talk about that in the news. Instead, they pinpoint so-and-so shot and killed so-and-so, so-and-so selling drugs in this neighborhood. They don't never talk about the positive aspects where you do have people in the black community trying to help other blacks become prosperous. They don't talk about that, and like I said, when Bill O'Reilly made that comment about President Obama, quite frankly, President Obama doesn't even, the majority of time, act like black people even exist. So for him to say that Obama is, kissing our butt and panhandling to us when he doesn't even address us the majority of the time. So once again, where is Bill O'Reilly getting any of his information from, honestly? Okay, and I love how Dr. Dyson brought up, and what about white on white crime? Because at the end of the day, each race, whether you like to admit it or not, kills their own race members at an alarming rate. So it's not really even about race as far as killing. It's humans. People in general kill each other You know, and it's sad that we want to pinpoint on one race for one thing and not look at the big picture. But I think, you know, Michael Eric Dyson really got back at Bill O'Reilly, and I'm actually waiting to see what is Bill O'Reilly. Is he going to come back with a rebuttal? What is he going to say to this? Anyways, Neo Intellect signing out the build, and make sure you like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on YouTube.